My question is there even a good defence in the league anymore?
There's not many, but I think we might have found one to invest in. Now, we're going to have this conversation again about selling Haaland or keeping him. We really have to.
Well, I've done it. He is gonzo. I've got a captain for you this week that nobody is thinking about, but I think I'm going to do it.
Okay, well, this is bound to fail then.
Nothing like my differential. I can't believe people are still asking if they should buy the best player in the league.
Chris Wood.
Who else?
Right, well, should they? Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Stick to FPL podcast, this time for Game Week 11. Yes, it's Game Week 11. Hello, Sim. How are you, my friend?
I'm good. I'm feeling alive.
Right.
I'm feeling blessed.
Yeah?
I'm feeling happy because, you know, my club is the best team in Europe.
What, Barcelona?
Of course.
Well, this is a Premier League podcast primarily, so, I mean...
40 goals so far this season.
Is that right?
That's right.
It's quite a lot, isn't it?
It's a lot of goals.
Yeah. It's a good month for Barcelona in general, but before everyone switches off, let's get into some FPL because, it's been an interesting game week 10. A few surprise packages in there. Maybe a few people disappointed with certain things. Other people very glad. A swingy week. I'll describe it as swingy. Big swings.
Ish.
Yeah?
It's not been one of those weeks where it's like, oh my God, the decision between two 50-50s has been brutal.
Yeah.
There's not been many 50-50s that have gone wrong this week, I think.
Well, I mean, the premium situation has been interesting because only one premium has actually got any points this in Game Week 10.
And the whole narrative has been around premiums are where you need to be right
Yeah.
now. But, you know, it can't happen every week.
I suppose not. But you know what can happen every week? Me telling everyone at home to subscribe to Fantasy Football Hub because they are brilliant. They really, really are. So, guys, Fantasy Football Hub are offering a free trial at the moment. So you can get free access to everything right now. Just use the link in the description on YouTube, Linktree, if you can find that as well. And you can get your free trial straight away. Let me know what you think of Fantasy Football Hub. We love it over here. All of the stats we use during the podcast are all through Hub, as well as a lot of the predictive points and a lot of our graphics come from them as well. So massive shout out to the boys over at Fantasy Football Hub.
The boys.
We love them. We love them. And they help make this podcast possible. One interesting point on Fantasy Football Hub that I thought I'd bring up this week is I know a lot of people sold Solanke this week, and Hub was recommending to keep him. Well, I'm buying him. Yeah. Obviously, he did really well in Game Week 10, and a lot of people were saying, these algorithms, they don't know what they're talking about. Keep Solanke. Do the robots watch football, or are they just looking at the data? Say less. Say less.
Oh, Dom Solanke.
He's done it. So, yeah, perhaps if you were, guys, at home, Fantasy Football Hub subscribers, you might have kept on to Solanke. But moving past that, because I'm sure we don't want to dwell on it too much. And by the way, congratulations to everyone who did keep him, because what a score from him.
Some cojones. 2
goals and an assist for the free kick as well. Lovely stuff. Lovely stuff there. But we're going to start off today. I want to start off talking about the defences of the Premier League, because it's been 10 game weeks now, so we're just over a quarter way through the season, and a lot of the defensive data that we're going to see is probably more reliable at this point. And I think looking through the defensive data gives us a lot of context to what we probably want to speak about going forward, whether that's about Haaland or some of the other premium guys, and analysing the fixtures. Are they good fixtures? Are they bad fixtures? Where do they actually sit? So, what we have first is the top 10 defences of the Premier League, and I'm going to read them out for you. I've ordered these by expected goals conceded per game, which is probably one of the better stats to use. You can factor in goalkeeper quality if you want to after that. But at the top, Liverpool, 0.78 expected goals conceded per game week. So they are top. They're the only team under 1 expected goals conceded so far this season. So they really are the top dogs. After that, Nottingham Forest. This podcast has been, and it's probably my fault a little bit, the Nottingham Forest defensive propaganda machine.
But, I mean, it's not even propaganda at this point. We expected this to drop off a long time ago.
Some of us did.
It's, by we, I use that in a very singular sense. But
the royal we.
Yeah. Yeah. We, the French. The French we. But it's it's been really interesting, and they've not only has the data continued to be good, but we've now started to see fruits of the labor.
Yeah.
And a certain someone lost a certain defender from that team on their wild card. So I'm not very happy about it.
Yeah. So Sim wildcarded, last minute wildcard, didn't you?
Very last minute wildcard, Saturday morning wildcard.
Yeah.
Had been thinking about it for the full week and the week prior to that. Really wish I pulled the trigger the week before, because I would have had a big green arrow.
Oh yeah, you said, I remember.
But no, still happy with the wild card this week. I think despite the fact that I sold Aina and Solanke, I'm still up
Okay, good.
on points on the wild card. So relatively happy with that. Much happier with my structure. And you know what? Maybe I'm going to have to buy Aina back.
I was going to say, with the benefit of hindsight, would you now include a Forest defender? And if so, would it be Aina? Because I look through all of these Forest defenders, they're all about the same, really. Like Aina, Milenkovic, Moreno, Murillo. Like Milenkovic has a bit of goal threat. He had a couple of shots actually, or at least one shot. I remember one big chance he had from a set piece this weekend. Obviously, Moreno got the assist as well. He's only 4.4 million.
Yeah.
So bargains to be had there. There's options and sells in goal.
Yeah, that's the one that I'm kind of really sort of gutted about, actually, because that would have been a really good pick. But you know, the fixtures aren't looking good in the shorter term, particularly.
No, they do have some horror fixtures coming up, and we will get to that because people were asking us to speak about Chris Wood, so we're going to do that later. But yeah, for sure, I think we just need to accept at this point. I think hopefully we're all on the same page now. I've been banging this drum for a while, but hopefully we're now all on the same page. Forest are a good defence. So moving on from Forest, we have Arsenal next in this list, which may come as a surprise to some people, as Arsenal don't seem to be keeping too many clean sheets recently. But it's not like they're conceding a lot of goals. They just seem to be conceding every game once. And it's a similar trend throughout the next few teams. We've got Man City here, Tottenham here, Fulham, Aston Villa, Bournemouth, and then Chelsea, Newcastle making up the top 10. And all of these teams aren't really keeping that many clean sheets despite their decent-ish numbers.
No one from Tottenham, Man City, Arsenal, except Forest, and even arguably Forest, and Liverpool have been keeping clean sheets recently.
Well, there hasn't really been teams keeping consistent clean sheets. There was Liverpool at the start of the season.
But that's dropped off. There was Arsenal at the start of the season. That's dropped off.
Yep.
Forest at the start of the season, and a couple recently, but not as much as we'd expect, given the data. Arsenal just fell off a cliff. Man City just don't keep clean sheets because they are so vulnerable to counterattacks and, like fast breaks for some reason.
Yep.
Spurs are Spurs. Fulham have been okay, but again, was it like one in the last 4?
One clean sheet, game week 1 to 9.
That's not true.
Yeah.
No way that's true.
One clean sheet between game week 1 and game week 9 for Fulham. That's it.
Yeah.
Wow. This is what I'm saying.
Wow.
There is...
Robinson kept getting assists.
He did at the start of the season. Yeah, it really is. And it's a bit of a wasteland for clean sheets. And we say these are the top 10 defences. I mean, so what? No one's keeping clean sheets.
Yeah. But the thing is, I feel like across the Premier League, we've been seeing a lot of actual performance start to regress to the norm.
A little.
We've seen it with, for example, Arsenal. Their defensive data, particularly at the start of the season, wasn't that good.
It wasn't that good, no.
They were keeping lots of clean sheets.
Yeah.
They now have arguably better data, given that they've climbed up the ladder, aren't keeping as many clean sheets. So overall, they've probably regressed back to the norm.
Yep.
You're seeing teams or even players like Bruno and Eze starting to actually pick up more points.
Yep.
Compared to what we've been seeing before. We're seeing people like Haaland, who are absolutely dominating what they were achieving compared to
overperformance for Haaland at the start of the season.
That's kind of, if you probably look at that over the course of the season, he's probably on how many goals he's meant to be on, despite the huge chances he's missed recently. So I feel like it's still a case of target these top defenses with the context of fixtures. The challenge that you face at the moment is Liverpool have difficult fixtures. Forest have difficult fixtures. Arsenal's fixtures don't get good until 12.
Yep.
Man City just look off. And Spurs have 2 centre-backs injured.
Mm-hmm.
So aside from Liverpool and Forest, and possibly Arsenal from 12, I don't see where you target clean sheets anymore. I think what you have to start targeting, particularly in the short term, is going to be attacking threat.
Agreed.
So your players like Einer's, your Gvardiols,
Trent,
in theory, yeah.
Nori.
That's the first one I said, right?
Oh.
And
I thought you said
you need to
Aina.
listen.
I thought you said Aina.
Did I say Aina? Okay, that's my mistake. That's my mistake. I was thinking Ain't Nuri. Yeah, so I think attacking threat is where you have to start chasing for now until maybe we start seeing a little bit more consistency. Virgil van Dijk, currently top point scorer for defenders.
He is, yeah.
Very interesting option.
You got players like Konate. He's been cleared fit as of today, or as of yesterday.
Yeah, in training.
Yep.
Tweeted out himself, didn't he? Or posted an Instagram story or something.
Yeah, he's tweeted out that he was ready to go, and then the manager confirmed.
Yeah.
On Monday.
It's interesting, I think, but I do think you have to. It's a very difficult place to be picking up clean sheets at the moment. To predictable clean sheets, you're gonna pick up clean sheets, but predictable clean sheets is very tricky at the moment. So I think not either, but you should lay your bed with teams that you think are going to start soon, but also try to focus more on the attacking threat. That's my piece anyway.
Yeah, no, definitely agree. Yeah, hopefully in an ideal world, you'd kind of try and pick out some of the more attacking defenders from the top teams, and then hopefully you still get your occasional clean sheet. But it's not super easy right now. It really isn't super easy with defenders at the moment. Isn't at all. So now if we look at the bottom 10 defenses, what we see is teams I suppose we should be targeting with our attacking players, I suppose. Because there will be some teams in this list where people might not automatically assume is a good fixture. For example, teams like, I'll just go through the list. So this is 11 to 20, again, by expected goals conceded per fixture. Crystal Palace, Everton, Brighton, Brentford, West Ham, Man United, Wolves, Leicester, Southampton, and then Ipswich right at the bottom. And people often look at teams like Brighton and think, oh, yeah, they're quite a good team. Are they going to be a tough fixture? Brentford, they score loads of goals. That's a tough game. But if you're an attacker, actually these kind of fixtures are pretty decent. So you've got like players like Haaland this week playing against Brighton. Actually not that bad. We'll have like players playing Manchester United. That's a little trickier because of the new manager situation.
Yeah.
And the other thing with Man United, if you look at their actual clean sheets, they've kept 4 this season.
Yeah.
And yet they're putting up some of the worst defensive data in the Premier League.
I think, what do you call it? When you make a bold prediction.
Yeah.
I think United's defense is going to get even worse. And I think they're going to start conceding a lot more goals.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is a bold prediction.
Under Amorim. Amorim?
Yeah.
But yeah, I think there will be a bit of a bedding period, and I think he'll struggle, especially the first month. So definitely still a fixture to target for me. I think with Ten Hag, they kind of started to accept that they're a bit of a try to soak up pressure a little bit more structurally and counter-attack.
That's a good point, yeah.
But a brave United, that's a horrible defense.
Yeah. I think the difficulty is with United is they have had poor defensive data for a little while now, but they just seem to have this knack of keeping clean sheets.
No, that's just this season. Last season, that wasn't happening.
It was a bit.
No, last season, they were horrid.
They kept more clean sheets than they were expected to. They were overperforming their data last season. They had, United have like something like the 16th or 17th worst defensive data in the Premier League.
Like almost got the golden glove, the glove, didn't he? It's interesting that you say that now. I think maybe it's the case of with United, when it rains, it pours.
Yeah, no, that's true for sure.
And it's like, okay, occasionally they'll hold out, but sometimes when they just concede, suddenly 3 or 4 go in. Because I'm thinking of like huge Salah and Palmer and Haaland hauls last season.
Yeah. But I think Man United are kind of like the anti-City. City don't concede many chances, but always seem to concede. Man United concede loads of chances, but still manage to scrape through with a few clean sheets.
Yeah.
So in terms of actual clean sheets, Man United are actually one of the better teams so far this season.
Yeah. And in fairness, a lot of that expected goals conceded looks to be penalties, because they're non-penalty expected goals against. is not in line with where they look to be. They should be above West Ham at least.
Yeah, that's right. So they would bump up one position on that. Yeah, above West Ham.
Still, though, in line with Brentford, who are a horrid defence.
Yeah, it's not great reading, but they're keeping clean sheets, or they have done, and they're not. One goal conceded versus Chelsea this weekend. Again,
they don't look good though.
No, of course they don't look good. When was the last time Man United have looked good?
Against City in the final.
Yeah, fair point. Yeah, they did look good in that game. But yeah, they're going to be a really, really interesting case. But I think it's still pretty clear to see that the 3 newly promoted teams are the 3 worst defences in the Premier League, which is unfortunate. You want to see the newly promoted teams putting up a bit of a fight. That doesn't seem to be happening, at least from a defensive point of view so far. But yeah, overall, I think certainly teams like Brighton and Brentford, we just need to keep in our heads, these are not bad fixtures.
Yeah.
On the FPL website, these are going to be down as those grey fixtures. Yeah. But if you're an attacker, these are green fixtures. They're lovely. They're beautiful. So,
where was Bournemouth?
Bournemouth are in the top half. So Bournemouth are in, what's that, 8th?
Worse defence than Villa. Interesting.
Yeah, Villa, by the way, they were like top 3 until this week against Spurs. So Villa dropped off massively as a result of that Spurs game.
Data's so weird because you can't, like, Man City are 4th in this.
But when you watch Man City, you see they don't concede many chances. Maybe Bournemouth was the exception this week, but
they seem to concede very big chances when they do. And it's like, it's a case of, all right, this is good. And then bang, what has just happened?
Yeah.
And they have that what has just happened moment, like, in every game. And Villa just remind me of that. That's why I just think they never keep a clean sheet. Except in Champions League, apparently.
Yeah.
But I don't know, man. Villa just isn't a good defense in my eyes. And this doesn't back it up. City, similar kind of concept where I just don't see City keeping a clean sheet in most fixtures at the moment.
It's a difficult one. But then as a counter to that, when City play the more difficult games, it's sometimes those are the games you think a clean sheet might actually happen. These are, good point. City are kind of like Arsenal, maybe a more fixture-proof defence, whereby a easy fixture is just as much chance of a clean sheet as a difficult fixture, or at least a medium fixture is going to be as tough as a difficult fixture because they set up slightly differently. But
enough about defences.
Yeah, because we need
tell me about the attacks.
Yeah. Who's going to be attacking these defences? Well, for some people, it might be Erling Haaland. It feels like every game week at this point.
I was just going to say that.
I was so conscious. I thought, all right, what are we going to speak about first on today's podcast? And I thought, we can't start off with the Haaland debate again. Let's just throw something in first. Come on. Every podcast, we're having the same discussion. It's the same answer as it is every week. Should you sell Haaland or should you keep him? There is no right answer. Here are the facts for you. And then you can formulate your opinions off the back of them. Haaland is still putting up the best numbers in the Premier League for all attackers. For per start, okay. So first of all, these stats here are actually for game week 10.
It's the ones on screen.
The ones on screen right now are for game week 10. So expected goals 1.04. That was the 3rd best of any player in game week 10. 5 shots, which was the most. 2 big chances, which was the most. And 7.03 expected points, which is something that Fantasy Football Hub calculates based on a player's actions on the pitch. Ordinarily, roughly how many points would those kind of actions generate? So, variance? For the 2nd week in a row, can we just say variance?
2nd week and it's been 5 weeks?
No, but it hasn't been 5 weeks because prior to game week 9, his data wasn't that good either. Really?
In those game weeks? Like the Wolves fixture, sure, but the game weeks before, they weren't bad.
But they weren't literally some of the best in the entire league, like they have been for the last 2 game weeks.
Yeah, he's just had some huge chances. That's the thing, like 2 big chances in that game, and one of them. I mean, I'm pretty sure those 2 big chances were that double save.
Yeah, it could well be, to be fair.
So it's, I don't know. I think I sold Haaland on wildcard, right? And that was a decision that I've been wanting to do for a couple of weeks now. And I've been talking about it, where it's the case of, okay, can I find value outside of this? Assuming he scores, assuming he matches his data, can I find value? And when he doesn't, like, even bigger win. When he does, occasionally he'll like blow it out the water, and you just gotta hope that you can swallow it, right? Pause. But for me, the fixtures are just not there at the moment. It's just such an opportunity. I know the next one is Brighton, which looks to be a much better one. But after that, what is it? Arsenal.
Let's have a look. So, fixtures coming up: Brighton away, Spurs at home, Liverpool away, Forest at home, which, as we've established, is a very difficult fixture, and Palace away in 15.
Why do you have it in grey?
What for Forest?
Yeah.
It should. If it was an away fixture, I'd have it in red.
You got... Oh, fair enough. Fair enough. It's a away fixture. It's a
Yeah.
home fixture. Yeah. I mean, look, Brighton definitely could haul. Spurs, without Van de Ven and without Romero, could absolutely smash it.
You see what I'm
Liverpool,
saying?
trickier. Forest, trickier. But gaming 15, you're going to want him back.
Yeah, because the fixtures from 15 are actually really nice.
Yeah. I still think there's scope to sell despite those two upcoming fixtures. Something is not right at City, and is deeply wrong, in fact. Maybe I think that Spurs game is going to be a tough one to get through as a non-owner.
Yeah.
Because I just don't see how he doesn't score 1 or 2 in that. But outside of that, I think you can make up ground with that money. And the big problem here is the money.
Yeah.
Nobody's saying he's gonna be a bad pick. Like, we know how crazy he can be. I mean, non-penalty XG first, shots first, in the box first, big chances first.
Yeah. Everything, every stat.
He's getting almost 2 big chances every single game, and he's one of the best finishers in the league. Like,
Well, I mean, that hasn't looked like it the last couple of game weeks, but yeah.
he's still top scorer.
Yeah, true.
He's still top scorer. It's just it's something's not quite, going right at the moment. So my take is still that you can probably punt it. I think it's still worth selling for Salahs or Palmers.
Well, it depends what you can do with the money. I think, if selling Haaland allows you to upgrade one of your cheap forwards to a Jackson in 12, or maybe a Watkins or an Isak even, or moving one of your cheap defenders to a Trent Alexander-Arnold, or, maybe, well, obviously getting Salah would be a big reason for that as well. It's there are definitely arguments for selling Haaland, but I think there was also a couple of arguments for keeping him. The first one I'd probably put forward is De Bruyne was back on the bench this weekend, and we know, De Bruyne making those passes, Haaland will just make those blind runs, just knowing that De Bruyne is going to find him, which always increases his potential. The numbers speak for themselves. When Haaland is playing with De Bruyne, it takes him to a slightly higher level. But to kind of play devil's advocate there, Haaland hasn't had a shortage of chances in the last couple of games. No. So that's not necessarily the problem. The other big argument, I would say, for keeping Haaland, it's not to say you should definitely keep Haaland, but this is something that you might want to consider if you are a Haaland owner, is that if you move Haaland to Salah now, all you're doing is saying, I was behind all of those Salah owners. Now I'm going to stay behind all of the Salah owners because they had Salah before me. So I actually saw this on the FPL Wire podcast, and they made a really good point. I think it was Praz made a really good point on game theory here. If you're selling Haaland and you're getting Salah, you're not going to catch up with all of the people who never had Haaland in the first place. You're solidifying your place behind him. If you keep Haaland, and Haaland outscores Salah in the next 2. And there's no reason why that can't happen. Haaland's data is better than Salah. If we're talking about things regressing to the mean, regressing to the average, regressing to what we expect, then that should put Haaland ahead of Salah on points. It's all theoretical, of course. But if Haaland does well and you keep him, and Salah does poorly or worse than Haaland, then you gain on all of these people who have been slapping you around for the past however many weeks. Yeah. Remember, you got to remember, you are playing against other people in FPL.
Yeah. You're playing against the field, though, right?
You're
not if it was like me versus you, I feel like that would hold weight. But you're playing against all those people who are also gonna keep Haaland. You're playing up against all those people who are somehow going to move from Salah to Haaland. You're playing up against those people who don't have either. You're playing up against an entire field, and there's a lot of people who are ahead of you who aren't just Salah owners. So
yeah, I think most people at the top are probably Salah owners right now, to be fair.
Yeah. It's a combination. You're going to do a lot more than just buy Salah, right? Maybe you're going to buy Wood, maybe you're going to buy Cunha, maybe you're going to buy this or that. It might not be game 3. I don't know what the theory is, but there's a gambling theory here as well.
Gambler's fallacy?
Probably.
If there is gambler's fallacy here.
Where you're saying, okay, I'm going to do it again and it won't happen again.
Yeah, that's
because it's
gambler's
happened
fallacy
so many times before.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's kind of a bit of a thing here. Like sometimes when a player is scoring, they're just scoring. Sometimes when a player is missing, they're just missing.
Yep.
And you have to make a call here and you have to be happy with the outcome because it can go both ways.
Mm-hmm.
And you just have to say, okay, I'm comfortable with the level of risk here. I'm uncomfortable with the level of risk here.
For sure.
Because not owning Salah is starting to become a very big risk.
Yeah.
Not owning Palmers and Sakas is also going to start becoming a very big risk. So which risk are you comfortable with?
Absolutely. And I think it's got to be a personal choice here. No right or wrong answers. You do you, boo. Speaking of all of those other guys, I've put together, well, I guess all of the premiums and their fixtures. Not put any numbers or stats here. I think we already get the general vibe that all of the premium players are quite good at footy. And we don't really need to justify owning any of them. But Haaland, Salah, Palmer, Saka, Son, I've got on screen. And for the audio listeners, don't you worry. I will be reading everything out as often. Right, so we've spoken about Haaland's fixtures already up to 15, but 16, 17, 18, he faces Manchester United, Aston Villa and Everton. Not too bad, really. Salah has Aston Villa and Southampton in the next 2, which you could make an argument is better fixtures than Haaland, but I don't know. I think that's kind of close.
No, that's much better.
You think Salah's fixtures are better?
Yeah.
Brighton.
Over the next 2.
It's the Southampton fixture, isn't it, really?
Over the next 3, right? Because they're facing each other.
Yeah, well, yeah.
And City are away for their one.
Yeah.
Salah is the City assassin. But it's the Southampton fixture. I feel like Villa is on par with a Brighton or a Spurs.
Mm-hmm.
And then Southampton is much better than the other.
Okay. So, yeah. All right. I think it's closer than people maybe think. But, yeah. Yeah, okay, so fine. Salah has better fixtures than Haaland in the next 2. I'll give you that one. After that, it's pretty close. Yep. It's really, really close. So 14, Haaland has Forest, Salah has Newcastle away. And I think there is a big difference between Newcastle home and away. In game week 15, Haaland plays Palace away, Salah plays Everton away. So 2 kind of slightly above average fixtures for them. Game week 16, Haaland plays Man United at home, Salah plays Fulham at home. Man United have a knack of keeping clean sheets. Fulham are just a fairly solid defence. Don't usually concede more than 1 goal per game. 17, Haaland plays Aston Villa away. Salah plays Spurs away. Again, probably put them on around the same level. And then 18, Haaland, Everton at home. Salah, Leicester at home. And I think Salah probably nips Haaland in game week 18.
I think a big consideration here, though, is from game week 14, if you have Haaland, assuming you don't have Salah, you can't. It's very hard to get both Palmer and Saka.
Yeah, Haaland, Salah, Palmer, Saka as a
no, not
quad.
Salah. So just Haaland, Palmer, and Saka.
Oh, it's easy.
That would be tricky.
No, it's so easy. Honestly,
so what?
It's so easy, man.
No, but then you can't get a Isak. You can't get you can't get a Jackson. You can't get a Solanke. You can't get a Trent.
Yeah, you can choose one. Basically,
You'd be relying on Rodgers and what's his name, Smith Rose and Semenyo's and players like that.
What's wrong with that?
No, you'd be relying on that, which is like you wouldn't be able to have anyone mid-priced.
Honestly, mate, I'll show you my team. Like when we do our teams at the end, I'm on course to have Haaland, Palmer, Saka with a strong team around it.
Okay,
I think you'll be surprised how easy it is.
Okay, fair enough.
Don't get me wrong. If you drop a Haaland to a Salah, that does allow you an extra like quasi-premium player in there, like an extra Watkins or something like that. But we're talking about the difference between a Watkins and a Cunha or a Watkins and a Raul Jimenez. And some people might say that, hey, there's a big difference there. Other people might say, actually, I like both.
It's 2.5 million. It's 2.5 million. It's a lot. Okay.
Yeah. But there's cheap options that are doing well. So that 2.5 million, I don't think goes as far as, perhaps would have done in previous seasons. Maybe.
Yeah.
But that's just an opinion thing. That's just an opinion. Let's have a look at some of these other premiums. So Palmer and Saka face each other in game week 11, which isn't ideal for either team. Although saying that, Chelsea are conceding chances. Arsenal have a knack of conceding goals at the moment. So
got both of them sat there, me.
Yeah. So they're fine to own. Probably not essential for game week 11. We go from game week 12 onwards for Palmer. It looks brilliant. Leicester, Aston Villa, Southampton, Spurs, Brentford, Everton, Fulham. Amazing for Palmer, really, from 12. And I would say from 13, it looks good for Saka, because Saka faces the mighty Nottingham Forest in game week 12. But from 13, West Ham, Man United, Fulham, Everton, Crystal Palace, Ipswich. Pretty nice.
This was Saka's first blank this week.
Was it? Oh, wow. I did not know that.
There was a game when he blanked but picked up a bonus point.
Oh, yeah. That still counts.
I'm not counting that.
It still counts.
3-pointer. But every other game he's had something.
Oh, right. But anyway, are we kind of in agreement that from 12, Palmer is essential? He has better fixtures than both Haaland and Salah, and we know Palmer can compete for points with both of these guys.
Yeah, I think you'd be hard pushed to not have Saka and Palmer. Palmer most importantly, but Saka and Palmer from 12. And then, Saka from 16 is just desperately essential, isn't it?
Yeah. But I think getting him in from 13 would be ideal, I would say.
Yeah, agreed. But, who do we think is better? Outside of fixtures.
Yeah.
Order them. Haaland, Salah, Palmer, Saka.
Okay.
Outside of fixtures for a moment.
All right, so let's just say who is going to score the most FPL points between now and the end of the season.
That kind of thing,
yeah. So I would say Haaland, top, then Salah, then Palmer, then Saka, and then Son, who might not even break the top 5.
So, bit of a spanner in the works.
Yeah.
But if Haaland and Salah are the two best FPL assets in the game, and there's not a big difference between Palmer's not 12.8 million.
No, I need to fix that.
You got him as 12.8 million. Don't worry, we're going to cut that out. But Haaland and Salah are the two best players in the game. And there's not a big price difference between Palmer and Salah and Saka. There's about two. The price difference between Palmer and Salah is less than the difference between Salah and Haaland.
Yeah.
Right?
Is that even true?
It's 12.7 for Saka.
Palmer's 11. So
Palmer's 10.9, isn't he?
No, well, I thought it was up to 11, which would be 1.8 between him and Salah. And then there's
2.7 between Saka and Salah.
Haaland and Salah.
Saka and Salah.
Oh, right, yeah.
And then 2.5 between Salah and Haaland.
Are we waffling?
No.
Okay.
2.5 between Salah and Haaland, 2.7 between Salah and Saka, and then you're saying because Palmer's now 11, 1.8 between Palmer and Salah. My point here being, right, why not get Haaland and Salah and pick between Palmer and Saka?
Because I think, even though I would order it Haaland, Salah, Palmer, Saka, I would say that the difference between points between these players probably doesn't amount to the difference in their price. So, yes, I think Haaland will score the most points, but he also costs the most by a significant amount. Yes, I think Salah will outscore Palmer, but also, again, there's 1.8 between the two prices. Yeah. So it's we're not just picking the players who we think will score the most points. We're working in a budget here.
Yeah.
So
it's tricky.
Pick three.
Pick three, basically.
Yeah. Son is the final player on this list, by the way. He plays Ipswich next, but after that, fixture's pretty horror. Don't think we really... Are we going to put Son in the same conversation as the other 4?
Not from 12.
I don't know. All right. Yeah. So, okay, let's say from game week 11 onwards, take 3 of these players. Who are you taking?
Well, I made my bed, right? I've gone Saka, Palmer, and Salah because I don't think between now and game week 15, Haaland is going to make it worthwhile.
Right. Because of his price.
Because of his price. And from Game Week 15, I'll probably have a plan to bring him back in.
And then what? Would you say it's Haaland, Salah, and then one of Palmer and Saka? Because that's tough.
I mean, I can't. It would just have to be Salah down, Haaland up to Haaland.
Okay.
I'd have to keep. There's no way I'm selling Palmer or Saka in 16 or 15.
Yeah. So you're thinking Salah in the short term, Haaland thereafter.
Yeah.
Okay. Not really. Yeah. Okay. I see it. But again, like, is there going to be that much difference between a Haaland and a Salah point scoring wise to justify making that big switch? Because you're talking 2 transfers and you're going to have to downgrade someone quite significantly.
It depends on how things play out. I mean, Salah kind of lost his talismaniness a little bit there towards the end of last season.
Yes.
I feel like. And he's now at a point where he's just that guy again.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't lose his talismanness, but there was a brief period where he just wasn't delivering at the same kind of rate we know Salah does.
No. Before he was kind of underperforming / working about average, and now he's overperforming his numbers.
Yeah, but right now, like, he's just doing so well, and you don't really need Salah to actually return as much as Haaland because of the positional differences.
Yeah, and the extra points.
So, like, he's been crazy on bonus recently. Like, a goal from Salah tends to give you 10 points.
Yeah, typically.
Which requires a brace from Haaland, really, to make a dent. So, I don't know. I feel like Salah can definitely match him through this period. But from Game Week 15, I don't know. I just feel like Crystal Palace versus Everton, prefer Crystal Palace. Man United versus Fulham, for City, prefer Man United.
Yeah, I actually agree. And
then Villa and Everton versus Tottenham and Leicester, it's a bit cagey, but it's you're gonna have to make a decision when you get there. There's no big sign to say to you, oh my God, this player is much better than this player in this period between these two, because they're both brilliant. They both have basically the same fixtures. Like, the colors are exactly the same.
Yeah.
So
yep.
Like, I think right now though, I've gone without Haaland for that decision, and my big decider has been I want Palmer and Saka.
Yep.
And I feel like it's uncomfortable to have that with Mr.
You'll see.
Mr. Haaland.
Yeah, it's so difficult as, like, content creators, I suppose, at the moment, because, like, people are saying which one is the best, and it's like, well, they're all great. That's why they all cost so much money. Well, but I want them all. You can't have them all. That there's budget restrictions in the game. Pick your favorites. Everyone's gonna have a different opinion.
Yeah.
I think if you've got Haaland, my style of playing FPL, I'd probably be open to keeping him, because I want to take a gamble that he might outscore Salah, and I can start making some points on Salah rather than, cutting my losses.
How long are you going to wait, though? How long are you going to give it? Because it's been 5 weeks now, right?
After a few game weeks, there's no difference anyway.
So you're saying you're just never going to get Salah up until game week 18?
I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying, like, right now, I'm going to take a little chance. Oh, I'm not ruling out Salah as a pick. I love him as a pick. I wish I could have him as well. But, I mean...
No, because you're saying that you're going to keep him for now, because...
I'm going to keep him for the next 2.
So then,
and then after that, like, you even just said yourself, I want to have Haaland back
from
in a few game weeks after that anyway.
Yeah.
So by that point, I'm probably on the right guy of the 2 anyway.
Yeah.
Not that there's that much difference, because there really isn't. Just pick one.
Okay, let's move on.
Yes. I can't stand this conversation, man. They're all great.
Yeah.
Pick your favourite.
It's difficult.
Yeah.
It's difficult.
So it's like you've got a bag of M&Ms there. They're all chocolate. They all taste great. Just pick your favourite colour and shove it in your mouth. Who cares? And hope for the best.
That's what she said.
Very good. Right. Game Week 11 captains. Speaking of premiums.
I thought we were sick and tight. I thought we were done with these boys.
No.
Okay. Game week 11 captain is tricky. And my bus team captains is not actually on here.
What?
Yeah.
Surely Salah is your obvious captain choice if you have him.
He is the obvious choice, but he's not my current captain.
Well, Fantasy Football Hub reckon that Salah has got the highest predicted points here. 8 predicted points. Pretty decent, pretty strong.
Very high, actually.
Haaland 7.5 against Brighton. Third place, Son 7.4. I've seen a lot of the models rating Son, and by the models I don't mean attractive people parading around. I mean like analytics model, like the opposite. Yeah. If anything.
Yeah, I don't particularly rate Son, so it can't have been the models.
Okay, fair enough. Saka's in there. 6.8 predicted points against Chelsea. I think that just is a testament to Saka and how good he has been. He was good against Newcastle as well. The problem is he was the only player for the Arsenal team that was good. And then Chris Wood in 5th, 6.3 predicted points at home against Newcastle.
What a machine.
He is, isn't he?
What a machine.
Yeah.
10 goals so far this season.
Honestly, I don't know what's happening. How is he doing it? How is he doing it?
Crazy.
The next player on this list, by the way, is Solanke. But I mean,
I think he's a great option this week, by the way.
Well, okay. Do you want to tell me your captain now, or you want to save it?
I'll save it. I'll save it.
Right.
I might bottle it, but for now he's got the captains.
Okay. But for the general conversation, if right, let me start that one again. Who is the best captain for Game Week 11? Assume you have a full squad of 500 players. You can pick anyone you like. Who are you captaining in Game Week 11? Can you imagine that, by the way? You've just got 500 players on the pitch. The people in your mini league are saying, how have you done that?
You got 1,000 points.
Yeah, that doesn't seem very fair. All right, you've got every player. Who are you captaining if you're advising other people? Not taking personal risks.
Not taking personal risks. This week, I would captain one of Haaland or Salah, whichever one I had. And if I owned both, I would probably go for... Oh, I have 500. I forgot about that. I'm sorry, Daniel.
That's right.
I would go for Mo Salah if I was advising.
Okay.
And that's just it's a question of home fixture, first of all. Mm-hmm. It's a question of matchup a little bit. And it's a question of form. And that's why I would go for Salah over Haaland. However, would not be shocked at a big bad boy brace or a hat-trick coming from the robot this week.
Yeah, I can see it.
So there's that.
Yeah. Brighton, by the way, whether they're home or away, doesn't seem to be too much difference in their defence. They're conceding a lot of goals when they're playing at home. Yeah. So the fact that it's an away fixture doesn't factor in too much for me for that Haaland fixture against Brighton.
To add, I think it's more likely that Salah hauls this week again compared to Haaland.
Mm-hmm.
So I still think Salah is the better option, but Haaland can just do it.
Yep. So it's probably tighter than maybe some people are making it out to be. Particularly, people are looking at Haaland's recent scores compared to Salah. Think, Salah must be infinitely better. I think it's pretty close. But if I had the 500 players, I'm picking Salah. No love for Son there. Would Son enter your thinking if you had him as well?
Definitely. I think he's a decent shout for this week.
Are you worried about him positionally playing a little bit wide there?
I'm never a fan of Son on the wing. I'm just never a fan of it.
Me too.
I'm just never a fan of it. And he didn't actually look great in that fixture last week.
Game week 10, no.
In Game week 10. Like, he got an assist.
Decent cross.
Up until that point, he wasn't doing much for me. And look, Ipswich are a good team to play against, and he's obviously predicted high for the points returns. But it's just not for me.
Yeah, Son has been pretty dodgy positionally this season. I think he's had a few decent returns that have maybe glossed over the fact that, when you watch the games, you kind of see he's a little bit peripheral in a lot of the attacks.
Yeah.
All right, well, there we go. Captain Salah, if you have him. If you don't, Haaland's good. If you don't have either, hopefully you have someone like Son or Saka or Solanke or someone else.
Yeah, Solanke could be decent this week.
Could be. Let's see. Right, yellow cards. Now, you sent this over to me yesterday. You sent me this exact wording in WhatsApp to me. I'm assuming you've copied and pasted this from Twitter.
I typed it out.
You typed all of this out yourself?
Yeah.
What, you worked it out? You calculated which players had 4 yellow cards right now?
Yeah.
Okay, fine. I don't believe you. So what we've got now is...
You can check the message I sent you. If I copied it, it would say forward.
All right, fine. Whatever. So, yellow cards. This is interesting. So, if a player gets 5 yellow cards before and including game week 19, they will be suspended for 1 game. And unfortunately, there are quite a few players on 3 or 4 yellow cards. And if they do get a yellow card before game week 20, they'll have a game out, unfortunately for them. So, these are the players who have 4 yellow cards right now. If they get 1 more, they're suspended. Semenyo, Aït-Nouri, Jackson, Buonanotte, Dibbling, Keane, Munoz, Byrne, Van de Ven. I'm sure there's some others, but we don't really care for the sake of FPL. A few players with 3 yellow cards as well, so they're going to need another 2 yellow cards to get that suspension. Palmer, Vardy, Kulusevski, Winks, Digne, Dalot, Bednarek, Harwood Bellis, and Konate. Are we worried about this?
A little bit.
Oh, yeah.
A little bit. I mean, this always kind of plays on my mind when it comes to picking players that I'm buying. Like, Aït-Nouri, imagine if he misses Southampton for it. No, that's already happening, so he's not going to miss that.
No.
But imagine he misses one of his peachy fixtures. Like, you'd be a little bit stressed about that. Or like Jackson, buying Jackson. Imagine he gets a yellow card against Arsenal. Like, it would come into my thinking, but it wouldn't dictate how I made my decision. At 3, I wouldn't care at 3. But it's 1 I would monitor, like a Cole Palmer. But 4, I'd hate to buy a player and be stuck with it, where he's getting a suspension.
I think it depends. Like, for most people, they have a decent-ish defender on the bench, or a decent, if you've got like Rodgers on your bench, for example, which most people seem to have a Rodgers or a Semenyo or someone like that on their bench most weeks. If you've got one of them and they have to deputise for, like, let's say Jackson, for example, if he does great, but just is suspended for 1 game, and the only bad thing is you have to play Rodgers, who is a good football player, for 1 game week, that's the downside. That's not so bad.
I guess the thing is with Rodgers, a lot of people are like doing a rotation with him, right? Where they want Rodgers cover on certain weeks and cover for Rodgers.
Yeah, and how's that gone so far this season when people have been benching Rodgers? And the same for Semenyo.
Very good point.
And the same for Smith Rowe.
Very good point. Very good point. So yeah, I'll eat my words. I think probably less attention should be paid to this, but I think some consideration.
So yeah, for sure, some consideration. And if you've got nothing on your bench, then this is going to be more worrying to pick up these kind of players. But at the same time, if your player gets yellow carded, they still can complete the game week in which they're playing. The following game week, you do have an issue. But like, that's what transfers are for.
Yeah, but you don't want to. You don't want to be selling an Aït-Nouri or like a Jackson when they're in a very good long run of good fixtures.
You might not have to. It might give you an opportunity to upgrade your bench, and that actually might benefit you in the long term.
Yeah,
to do that. So yeah, I mean, I don't really pay too much attention to this stuff. I mean, I keep it in the back of my mind. I'm aware of it, but I don't let it factor into my decision making too much, because I think you miss out on opportunities if you play with too much fear. Like Aït-Nouri could, or Jackson could score 5 goals before he gets another yellow card, and you'll say to yourself,
guarantee you any money in the world, Nicholas Jackson is getting a yellow card in the next 2 fixtures.
Any money in the world,
any house, mortgage, car, ring.
All right, if Jackson gets a yellow card, if Jackson doesn't get a yellow card in the next 2 game weeks, you've got to wear the goose costume again for a podcast.
But if he doesn't? What if he does?
I'll wear it.
No, because that's not that funny.
I'm not giving you money.
You've got to wear... Why would you give me money? You've got to wear a Spurs kit.
No. I'm not taking that deal. I'm not taking that deal. Well, you get to dress up as a beautiful bird.
A beautiful bird? I got to wear a balaclava and feathers in my hair.
Yeah, it's nice.
No.
So you survive.
No.
I get to dress up as a cockerel. It's kind of bird. Right.
You have to dress up as... I know. You have to wear the dinosaur costume.
We have a dinosaur costume?
We have a dinosaur costume.
What, in the studio?
Yes.
Oh, I'll do that. I'll do that for free. All right, actually, shake on that. We'll do that. Fine.
2 game weeks, Jackson gets a yellow card.
All right, fine. Well, I hope you guys are subscribed now. You don't want to miss it. Someone's going to be wearing a very silly costume. We'll both be dressed as dinosaurs, technically, because birds are dinosaurs. There you go. Bit of science for you. Wasn't expecting that on an FPL podcast. Right. Chris Wood. Chris Wood.
He looks like a dinosaur.
He is a bit of a dinosaur, to be fair. He's getting on a bit, but it's not stopping him from banging in the goals. He is a man who is scoring so many goals, he almost seems essential. And yet, when I asked the good people at home what they wanted to talk about in the podcast, they were saying, I have Chris Wood. Should I be selling him? And others were saying, I don't have Chris Wood. Should I be buying him? I feel like I probably shouldn't be buying him because his fixtures are so horror. So game week 11, Nottingham Forest face Newcastle, followed by Arsenal away, Ipswich at home, Man City away, Man United away. There's two nice fixtures in there, Newcastle at home and Ipswich at home. But Arsenal, City and Man United away, it's not great. It's really not great.
Man United away is great.
Away.
Yeah.
At the Theatre of Dreams.
The theatre of hatred.
Nice. I don't know. Maybe you could have thought of something, a better joke there, but Theatre of Hatred, we'll do it. Theatre of Beans.
Beans?
Yeah, because they're always farting themselves forget it. Right. Fine. Theatre of Hatred. We'll go with Theatre of Hatred. Right. Numbers per start. Chris Wood. Non-penalty XG.
His data's so bad.
It's terrible. 0.37 expected goals per start. That's the 13th best in the Premier League, which it's not terrible for a cheap forward. But, I mean, it's not elite, really. Shots per start, 2.1 shots per game. That's the 30th best in the Premier League.
He's taking 2 shots a game. That's crazy.
In the box, 1.8, 23rd best. Big chances, however, 1.1 per game, and that puts him 5th. And I think that pretty much sums up what Chris Wood is at the moment. He gets one big chance per game and scores it every time.
Yeah.
Last game, 1 shot, 1 goal. It's just what he does.
Yeah.
It's just what seems to be what he's doing. Against tougher teams, Forest don't generate that many chances. They really don't. I guess they won 3-0 against West Ham, but are they going to do that against Arsenal away, Man City away? No. If Forest aren't getting many shots, Chris Wood is getting even fewer shots in the more difficult fixtures. Is his hot spell going to finally dry up?
The fixtures say that it will. However, I'm a strong believer in you don't sell a player in form.
I agree.
And he is on a spell that he's never been on in his career.
Well, you say that. Second half of last season
He's got 9 in 10.
Yeah, but I think he got something like, I don't know the exact number, but it was something like 14 in 20 or something stupid in the second half of last season.
Well, I mean, there you go then. But, like, I can stomach 1 blank or 2 blanks if he's scoring in every other game.
Yeah.
And there's no one at his price point who's doing what he's doing.
Nope.
So,
no. I mean,
it's just
Raul Jimenez,
arguable.
Cunha,
Definitely not.
Welbeck,
Arguable.
there are a few. And I think that's why people have the temptation to sell Wood, because there are other options, genuinely.
If you're looking to move to a Raul Jimenez or a Cunha is probably where people are really looking at the moment. They're looking at Wood walking into Newcastle and Arsenal and seeing Cunha walking into Southampton.
Yeah.
And I understand the desire to switch there. I just think, can you move? Like, Cunha's a very cheap forward. You can have Cunha and Wood.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't have to be Wood that you move on. Maybe you're sat there with a Vardy. Maybe you're sat there with a DCL. Maybe you're sat there with a, I mean, Solanke, you're probably happy right now.
Yeah.
But maybe you're sat there with an Erling Haaland stinking up your team. And that is probably where you can move to a Salah, for example. I think selling someone in this hot form before that form starts to dip is just asking for trouble.
Yeah.
I mean, look at the timeline every time Wood scores. It's just groans and moans and people complaining, why is this guy still doing it?
Yep. Oh, he scored his only shot of the game again.
Yeah. And like, I brought him on my wild card, and it wasn't a case of, okay, this is fixtures and this player is doing well, I want him in my team.
Yeah.
And that was the only thought I had about that. And I don't know, I'm not gonna touch him before game week 14.
Okay. Well, all right. Let's summarize here. If you have Chris Wood right now, I don't think you sell him in the next 3. You got Newcastle at home and you got Ipswich at home in there. I think both are very good fixtures. Arsenal away in the middle, potentially overrated.
Look, it is what it is. If he blanks, he blanks. If he scores, you're lucky.
If you want to bench him, Rodgers plays Crystal Palace that week. If you fancy benching him for 1 week only, for someone like Rodgers,
yeah.
If you have him, you keep him. But if you don't have him, would you buy him?
No.
Would you go somewhere else?
Yeah.
Cunha, Raul Jimenez.
The only way I'd buy him would be a wild card.
Okay.
And even then, maybe give it a little bit more thought. It's easier to buy him on wild card when he's facing West Ham. Excuse me.
Yeah.
But a free transfer now into Wood? Nah.
No, agreed. Don't buy, don't sell.
Don't buy, don't sell.
Yeah, like it. All right. It's my favorite time of the week, guys. Are we going to do differential of the week? Oh, my word. So I've had another great time for the differential of the week. I'm quite good at this, actually. Cunha was my differential of the week. He got a nice 6-pointer. Decent stuff. Did anyone go there? Maybe you did. If you did, congratulations. You got a nice 6 points. However, if you did follow Sim down his differential of the week, then you might have picked Ashley Young. And if so, you would have got 2 points. Now, in fairness, Sim, 2 points is pretty good for you. So I mean, credit where it's due.
85th minute.
Yeah.
Southampton decide they're gonna score.
I laugh so much, man.
I had an Everton defender on my bench praying they keep a clean sheet.
Oh, honestly, man. Like,
this has got to stop.
I was like, oh my word, Everton are actually going to keep... Sim's actually picked a differential that scored FPL points. But lo and behold... Oh, Southampton score. Armstrong.
Before this, I'm just going to tell you how many returns in a row Senior Ashley Young had.
Yeah. Well, this is what you do. You did the same thing to Delap.
Yeah.
The 1 week you picked Delap as your differential of the week. It's the only game he's blanked.
Ashley Young, game week 5, 6 points. Game week 6, 5 points. Game week 7, 6 points. Game week 8, 6 points. Game week 9, 6 points. I pick him, blank.
I'm sure you're cursing players, man.
Yeah, well, you're not going to like who I pick.
I am going to like who you
The
pick.
viewers will not like who I pick.
There are a lot of people who are going to be furious that you've cursed this player.
Erling Hot.
Not a differential. Right, go on then. Who
I
is
have
it?
gone for Cunha's strike partner, Strand Larson. 2.2% owned. Southampton at home. Brilliant, peachy fixture. Scored in the last game week. Looking to be a brilliant option. What can go wrong?
What could go wrong? Everything is lined up perfectly. This is a brilliant differential of the week. You got everything there. A guy in form, great fixture, differential, cheap. He's the full package. And yet you've just come on this podcast and cursed him for everyone who was thinking about going for him this week.
Personally, I think I catch up to your total points this week.
You know you're like 50 points behind. No? Okay. Look.
That's just what I'm saying.
For the
47 points, in fact.
Oh, is that right? For the first time this season, I think you've got a better differential of the week than me.
You said that like 3 times this season.
All right. For the 4th time this season. No, but on a real, this is the player I wanted for my differential of the week. But, I mean, you need it more than I do.
I tried to pick Cunha.
Did you try and pick Cunha?
But he's 6.8.
Yeah. Well, I got him in as the differential of the week before his ownership exploded. But I love it, man. I love it. I think this is a great differential. It's just unfortunate that he's going to get 2 points this week if he's lucky. As a
More
result,
likely to be 1, isn't it?
I've gone for Kulusevski.
Ooh, interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I can't really even justify this much. He's quite cheap, 3.8% ownership, has a fantastic fixture, seems to be in a bit of form, but his data's pretty terrible. But he seems to be picking up points, bit of a knack at the moment. I just thought, all right, I'm not going to put too much effort in this week because I'm just so far ahead, so confident. If I'm totally honest, there's not too many players that I'm keen on as differentials this week. I think a lot of the players with good fixtures this week, a lot of people already own and are talking about. So for 5% and under, there's not too much I'm super keen on. But
Kulusevski looks like he's playing football in the 1800s.
What do you mean by that?
He just looks very old.
Him physically?
He looks like he could be very old. He looks like he could have been around 200 years ago.
Oh, okay. So you're saying he's got a bit of like an Anglo-Saxon vibe to him?
He's Swedish.
Okay, or maybe a Viking vibe to him then.
That would work. That would work.
When the Saxons... right, no, we're not doing history today.
Saxons are English.
Well, they came over from Saxony, which is somewhere in mainland Europe. Is it the Netherlands? I think it might be somewhere near Germany or the Netherlands.
Tell us in the comments.
Anyone know more history than us, please do let us know. But yeah, I'm pretty sure they are somewhere in that region. Okay,
The Netherlands feels right, actually. I say it. But go on.
Maybe German.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Definitely not German.
No?
No, definitely not German.
Well, Kulusevski, regardless, is Swedish, so he's neither of those anyway. But he might do well.
Well, good thing if you've got Kulusevski is about to bag a hat-trick. So, congratulations.
I'm blessed. You're cursed. I'm blessed with differential picking. Blessed. Kulusevski, let's go.
I'm like Haaland. I put up great data and I just blank week on week.
Do you? Because I kind of remember when you pick Young, I was kind of like, this is a pretty horror pick.
That was a great pick. That should have converted. That should have been 6 points.
Shoulda, woulda, coulda. If ifs and buts were candy and nuts, we'd all have a Merry Christmas. Here is my team for game week 11.
Ooh, you're on a mean red arrow.
Well, it's not that mean. All right, I'm on a 300k red arrow. But we are recording this before the Brentford-Fulham game. And I still have Mbeumo, Smith Rowe and Raul Jimenez to play. Don't check the score. I don't want to know. I know you're checking the score right now, aren't you? And you know what's happened. I don't want to know. I'm not. When we finish this podcast, I will look. So, yeah, in goal, I've got Henderson against Fulham. Defence is Gvardiol against Brighton. Trent against Villa. Ait-Nouri against Southampton, which is pretty nice. Got Johnson and Mbeumo, Palmer and Smith Rowe in midfield. Haaland, Raul Jimenez and Vardy up front. My team is kind of meh for this game week, if I'm totally honest with you. And I think a lot of that is to do with the fact I have 4.2 million in the bank because I've been freeing up money ready to upgrade Johnson to Saka. And that's going to happen in game week 12, I think. So I have the money to upgrade Johnson to Saka. I've got obviously another transfer to use before that. Selling Vardy might potentially work ahead of his Manchester United fixture. I can't quite afford to go for Cunha, unfortunately. Priced out of that. But I could go for Strand Larson. I don't think I'm going to now. So thanks for that.
Why would you be priced out if you got so much in the bank?
Well, because Cunha went up in price and Saka went up in price, which was a bit of a surprise last week as well.
Yeah, but you've got a couple of weeks until game week 12.
No, I don't. It's game week 11.
So how many have you got in the bank transfer-wise?
I've got 4.2 in the bank, 1 free transfer right now.
So if you do Vardy to Cunha...
Yeah, I would be like
you'd have to take
1.2 short.
Yeah.
And honestly, I don't know. There's no one else I really want to sell. Like Gvardiol, Alexander-Arnold, Ait-Nouri is a pretty decent defense.
Yeah.
Like Johnson's good for this week. And Mbeumo, Palmer.
Have you just forgot about your goalkeeper?
I mean, he's a cheap goalkeeper. He'll pick me up points gradually throughout the season. He's kind of done that. He's got a couple of clean sheets, got a couple of save points.
1 clean sheet all season.
He's outscored Raya since game week 5. So
You were Ray got like 50 points in 5 game weeks.
yeah, but then how many has he scored since then? In easier fixtures, no less.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
I don't care.
I get it. I mean, there's no rush to sell Vardy. It's United. It's not an awful fixture. It's not a great fixture, sorry. I guess they're both true. But yeah, it would be nice to own one of Strand Larsen or Cunha, wouldn't it?
It would be nice, but I mean, after this,
what's the sorry?
Yeah,
go ahead.
I was gonna say after this game week, I'm not that bothered about Wolves attackers. They face Fulham away, which we know is tough. Bournemouth at home, Everton away. Like, how many goals are Wolves realistically going to score in those 3 from 12 to 14?
They'll score a few. They've been scoring against the big teams, let alone the smaller ones.
Yeah,
I think you're better off having a Strand Larsen over a Vardy between now and game week 13, where he's playing Manchester United, Chelsea, and then Brentford, whereas Strand Larsen's playing Southampton, Fulham, and who?
I think if you bought a Wolves Wolves attacker last game week, great. If you're buying him this week, yeah, pretty decent. But then there's other players I really like. Wissa I really like. Even with the slightly more difficult fixtures in the medium term, I guess, I still think I prefer Wissa. And we've got like Brighton attackers. I would love to have a Brighton attacker, particularly from game week 12, 13 onwards.
Yeah.
I'd love to have one. I think they've got better fixtures than Wolves have. So
yeah, from 12 though.
Yeah, which doesn't really help me now. But if I just postponed the selling Vardy this week, and then maybe, I mean, let's see what's going on with João Pedro. If he's coming back in, 5.4 million.
That's crazy talk.
5.4 million penalty taker for a decent attacking team, could play behind the striker, as striker, for a kind of top half team. That's like insane bargain.
Yeah.
And that allows me to do some other things as well.
João Pedro's not for me, but I get what you're saying from a contextual standpoint.
If I just hold off, get a bit more information, another game week out of the way, let's see what we can do. So I think I might end up rolling. If I could afford Cunha, I might have gone there. I don't really see where else I go. I think I just wait for more information. To be honest.
Fair enough.
Still have the wild card as well.
Yeah.
I could just do that.
I mean, you could wild card in 12.
I could, but do I need to? Like, I'm so close to what people would be wild carding to anyway. Yeah. As soon as I get the Johnson to Saka move, I've pretty much got most people's wild card teams.
No Salah.
Yeah, some people will say go for Salah instead of Haaland. Some people say go for Haaland instead of Salah. That's the only real significant difference here.
Yeah.
And it's not like I've had to lose Trent or Gvardiol in order to get my 3 premiums.
Gvardiol. Yeah. Oh,
do I say it that bad?
You say Gvardiol. It's Gvardiol.
I can't.
It's like Mbappe. It's not Mbappe.
Is it not Mbappe? I've been calling him Mbappe all this time. He's telling me I'm saying it wrong.
Oh my god.
But yeah, I don't feel like I need to do too much for my team. But I think it could be an underwhelming week for me.
Your team's in a good place. Your team's definitely in a good place. And I understand the reluctance to wildcard. Personally, I would move on Vardy, but that's a personal take. I'm a little bit more aggressive with things like that.
Yeah.
Smith Rowe, probably I would maybe be a little bit finicky about, but you've got Rodgers sat there who's perfectly fine. So
yeah, a Smith Rowe Rodgers rotation works nicely for me, I think.
Yeah.
And if I bring in a João Pedro there, it could always be a 3-way rotation as well. And then the midfield will be stacked and Haaland will start scoring goals again, hopefully. Anyway, let's do your team.
So this is my wild card. I've got Raya in goal, Trent Alexander-Arnold in defense alongside Ait Nouri and Rico Lewis. Mo Salah currently with the armband because Dan decided that for me. Saka.
No. Fantasy Football Hub decided that for you.
Fantasy Football Hub decided that for me. Salah, Saka, and Burmo and Cole Palmer, who's currently flagged. And then up front, I've got the trifecta. Wood, Cunha, and Raul.
Yeah.
And then on the bench, I've got Fabianski, Rodgers, Mikolenko, and Okoli.
I love this wild card, by the way. I think the only thing I would have changed, I know this sounds like hindsight, but you can go check all my YouTube videos for last week. I had a Nottingham Forest defensive asset in every wildcard draft I made last week. That's the only thing I would have changed. Aside from that, I love it.
I made a last-minute change. I sold Aina and I bought Rico Lewis.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's rough.
The only thing that gives me peace is I was gonna bench Iron regardless.
I was gonna play Mikolenko.
I was gonna play Mikolenko,
who would have outscored Lewis
who also would have
by 1 point.
But yeah, no, I'm relatively happy with the wild card. I think with hindsight, what I would probably reconsider is, given that I sold Aina, I probably would have bought Sells.
Okay.
Kept that money. I don't really like where Arsenal are at the moment as a team. And maybe I would have left me the scope to be able to upgrade one of my forwards to a Isak or a Jackson come game week 12. Right now, I have, I think, 1 million in the bank, which doesn't give me that scope. But yeah, otherwise, quite happy with the team.
So rolling.
Yeah, rolling. And I am currently captaining Cunha.
Really?
Southampton at home, man.
Oh. I mean, the fixtures there.
He's
a bonus point magnet.
Yeah, he's brilliant. But Villa, I don't know.
Yeah, if you watch Villa this weekend, you'd be a little bit afraid to go against the Salah captain if you had him.
That's the thing. So Salah's obviously on my mind. I see great games from Saka and Palmer. I'm really expecting something good there. But I wouldn't risk the captaincy with either of them. So I'm between Salah and Cunha. But I like the Cunha captaincy, man. I like it. Cunha goal and assist, is that so outrageous against the Southampton? I think so. I think that's not that crazy.
The one concern is that Sarabia's getting some game time now, which I think takes penalties from Cunha. The only concern I have, and I like to captain a penalty taker because you always have that chance of the luck, right?
I don't know. I'm not too preoccupied about that.
Fair enough.
But we'll see. I'll probably just go Salah, to be honest. But to be fair, my rank isn't brilliant. I've tumbled all the way down. I've come back up this week, but I've tumbled down from like 600k. So maybe now is not the time to continue tumbling. I've just recovered a teeny bit, hoping Mbeumo and Jimenez do something. Maybe I'll finish at 1.5 this game week if things go well. I don't know. I'll tell you what. If Jimenez scores today, I'll captain Cunha because I'll feel good.
That's one reason.
That's we'll think about it more than that, but we'll see.
Fair enough. I mean, it's like you can still gain by captaining Salah, by the way, like because you're still facing off like with people like me who don't have Salah. So you gain on people like me by captaining Salah. It's not like it's like completely template.
I'm trying to chase a ceiling. I'm not so fussed about the gain, right? I'm trying to chase a ceiling, and I just think Cunha's ceiling could be huge this week.
Fair enough. Yeah. All right. Well, with that all said, let's wrap things up because we've been going on well over an hour, I think.
Yeah.
Guys, if you enjoyed today's podcast, please do leave a like. We are so close to 4,000 subscribers on YouTube. We need like 20 people to subscribe. That's it.
There's definitely 20 of you watching right now. You're most likely already subscribed. But for the 20 of you that aren't, please.
Yeah.
Just do it.
There's 20 specific people
listening
or watching right now, and they know exactly who they are as well. And they'll not click that button.
And you know what? Maybe those 20 of you are actually on the podcast platform. And maybe you'll never watch us on YouTube. But, show us that love.
I'll come over to YouTube and click subscribe there.
Exactly.
And why not for the YouTube guys, go over to Spotify or Apple Podcasts and throw a little 5-star our way. That would be appreciated.
That would be brilliant.
We would love that.
That would be brilliant. And if you do, send me a message. I'll come down your house and I'll give you a kiss on the forehead.
Will you actually do that?
I will not.
Okay. Well, I could get us a few extra followers if you were to do that.
Maybe.
Okay.
Maybe.
But yeah, guys, we appreciate all the love. Continue to spread the podcast around to your friends and family, and will help us grow a little bit as we are a new podcast for this season. But let's wrap things up with the final words from Sim today, who has got you've come with something prepared today, haven't you, for the final words of the podcast? Yeah. Am I mistaken? We've got some dead air here. What I feel like I'm filling. Unnecessarily? You're looking away right now and pretending you're not in the room. Okay, not making eye contact today. All right, well, in that case, here is your final words.
Oh my God, you brought it back. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.
Cheers, guys. Bye.